Did you know the Bible God answered all the colonizers' prayers? That's a fact. Black people were tricked into praying to that same God too. The Bible is not a giving God. It's a war God, a God that destroys, conquers, and takes over people's land. If you want a God to destroy, to punish, to dominate, pray to the Bible God. That is exactly why it was handed to black people. Black people were praying for freedom, peace, mercy, forgiveness, things the Bible God is not designed to give. The book itself tells you this over and over. In Deuteronomy 7:1-2, it says, "You shall conquer them and utterly destroy them." In Joshua 6:21, they devoted all in the city to destruction, both men and women, young and old. In 1 Samuel 15:3, "Go and strike Amalek and devote to destruction all that they have." And in Judges 1:4, "The Lord delivered into their hands, and they defeated them." Conquest, war, and domination run through all 66 books. Even Isaiah 13:15-16 says, "Whoever is found will be thrust through, whoever is caught will fall by the sword." And Revelation 19:11-15 describes a warrior God coming with justice to judge and make war. This God is tribal, chosen for one people in one land. Exodus 19:5-6 and Deuteronomy 14:2 make that clear. Black people were not that people, yet we were told to pray to this God for the very things it doesn't give. I know Christians are going to challenge me because they have selective hearing. They will pull out, "Jesus preached peace," but even Jesus spoke about war, spiritual war, judgment, confronting corruption, and obedience, even in the context of spiritual servanthood. Christianity is not trained to decode this, because if you want to program someone, you speak in parables. That's why Jesus spoke in parables in Matthew 13. The sheep wouldn't understand, but the one sheep who asked, "Why do you always speak in parables?" Matthew 13:10-17 got the deeper meaning Jesus was revealing only to those ready to see. Jesus spoke constantly about obedience and servanthood. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. Matthew 10:24-25. Whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first must be your slave. Matthew 20:26-28. And everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. John 8:34. He used the example of servants working all day and receiving no thanks. Luke 17:7-10. To show that obedience is expected even without reward. Spiritual language was used in ways later interpreters turned into worldly obedience and submission. Father like son, a war god producing a son who taught obedience, parables, and hidden judgment. But guess who really freed the enslaved? The African gods of war, the Ogun, the Shango, the Orishas, who stood for power, liberation, and protection. Ogun, the god of iron, war, and the pathbreaker, symbolized the warrior who clears the path for freedom. Shango, the god of thunder and justice, embodied righteous power against oppression, giving strength to those enslaved. Oya, goddess of winds and change, brought transformation and upheaval, tearing chains apart and opening the door for liberation. Even Obatala, god of wisdom and peace, and Ocean, goddess of love and healing, worked through the community to restore freedom, hope, and balance. These gods did not sit by while their people prayed for freedom. They represented the force, the courage, and the divine strength that broke chains. Where the Bible God demanded obedience to conquerors, the African gods demanded action, resilience, and liberation. So when black people prayed under the yoke of slavery, the African gods answered, not in words, but in courage, in rebellion, in survival, in keeping memory and spirit alive. The path to freedom was paved by Ogun's iron, Shango's thunder, and Oya's transformative winds, the same forces that inspired resistance, escape, and revolt against the enslavers. Ask yourself, why would a God built for war, conquest, and domination be handed to the people who needed freedom the most? Why did African gods of war empower the enslaved to fight back, survive, and reclaim their humanity? The answer will make you question everything you were taught. Open the scriptures, read your history, but never forget the power and truth of your own ancestral gods who fought alongside your people when the Bible God stayed silent.